Hello, me again. I mentioned banks in the last video. I really shouldn't have done. Okay, so I feel that I've got to say something about banks. Banks. Basically, what you've got in a modern bank is an investment wing, arm or leg, and a normal banking leg. And at the top is the board of directors that runs both. This is totally boring. Investment bank side, wow, that is the hothouse of its Wild West saloon stuff. In the old days, if there was a bank that had an investment side and a boring bank side, it always had the board of directors at the top. There was no preference really for who would be boss of the board of directors or hold the most seats. Probably more on the boring banking side. But as the investment banking side became a lot more profitable than the boring banking side, then the top board members became more of the investment banking side, and the ethos of the Wild West got more onto the board table and eventually came down the leg to the boring side. But even so, there's still not much you can do on the boring side of banking. Right, so let's linking my strongest videos. I mentioned in one of them, I think, that it is preferable that corruption is tackled, and this is, let's say, corruption, naughtiness, is tackled at source rather than leaving it for a dictator to come along and squidge it, because dictators are dangerous. Strong politicians are dangerous, intrinsically dangerous things to have around. And we had a date in the Thatcher letting the banks go, the Big Bang, 1986, so let's say 1985 and a half. There would have been the older people in charge then that would have said, no, we don't go in, we don't do that sort of thing here, young man. And in other companies where the old man didn't say that or said it and was farted at by the young man in braces, basically the company that did the naughty things made more money and bought out the people that said, no, we don't actually do things like that here. So all the no, we don't do things like that here were basically put out to pasture. And there was a snowballing effect of the naughtier you were, the more likely that your outfit was going to buy out another outfit. And in the end, these rose up into bigger things, which were eventually bought out by what we call the big, main, too big to fail banks. And they go on to this leg of the investment side, which was then not just filled with Wild West naughtiness, but filled with a Wild West naughtiness ethos. The old people were all retired, and that ethos then got to the top table, and that's how it came to pass. Now, just along this line, because it's been the videos of the morning, it is necessary that the ethos is changed in banking. The central bank and things like Basel 1, 2 and 3 aren't capable of doing it. They can put, like the Winter Olympics, they can put posts in the ground to slow things down, but these little bastards are going to whiz in and around them and do naughty, because the ethos is shot. So what is necessary is to have a huge, great dictator that squidges them hard until the old or the young that have grown up and now are in charge are completely cleared out, and a new ethos is instilled into investment banking, stroke the boardrooms of these financial corporations, that the ethos is, we do not do that here, young man. But they've all got to do it, because if they don't, the ones that do the naughtiness in finance will be more profitable, because it is very profitable to be naughty. And hopefully from that you've understood the enormity of the problem that governments have, and any financial authority has had since the Big Bang 1986, of keeping banks under control. It has been, and still is, effectively impossible. The only way to do it would be to have a dictator with absolutely huge powers to rip it all up and start all over again. And if you think that's a good idea, well, you think is a good idea. So this is what I'm saying about society, that the only time to have stopped it would have been to somehow, probably impossible, to have boosted the hand of the old fogies that in the beginning said, we do not do things like that around here, sonny. But they were pissed on and have now died. Problem. And the ethos similar to this in banking is across all capitalist enterprises. What you do. It is what is. Should do us for the day, shouldn't it, really?